I spoil her with some soul trends. Good girl. No more, she on my team when I hang. You hear the echoes when bass scream. Living that bay life. It's alright. You feeling depressed and go outside. You the weed and the seeds that make these hard times. With every time you spend, no life. Better take a staycation. To Santa Cruz, tow a car, I got drank. Bring the shoe, bring the speaker for the slap. Yeah, set the mood.
Good afternoon or morning, wherever you are. It is hot as hell already. Welcome to the Mrs. Best Reviews channel. We are here to go over Love After Lockup Season 5, Episode 4, which was titled Dark Side of the Spoon. So we're going to get right into it because I have a fuck ton of stuff to do this Saturday. So let's give it a go. We're going to start with Melissa and Louie. So for those who are watching the live replay, if you're new here or if you're someone who's here all the time for the recaps, just as a reminder, we do go over each couple and what happened with them in the episode one by one. That way we're not ping-ponging back and forth between couples. So Melissa and Louie, who she gives me ugly duckling syndrome based on the high school picture. Louie, he was popular in high school. Apparently all the girls wanted him, all of these things. So fast forward to today and now they're together. So he's out of jail. And the last we saw, he was at his mom's house. And people, listen, that mom is overbearing in a way that, in my most personal opinion, is unhealthy. I don't understand it. She's like super stuck on her child in a way that just doesn't make sense for him to date or be with anybody. So basically, they sneak out to the hotel because they want to have sex. They want to get busy. They want to bump uglies. And in the car ride on the way to the hotel after they sneak out, I was a little weirded out because I was like, listen, why would you check and question Melissa and Louie after you're already out of the hotel if this goes against your probation? In my opinion, that's something that should have been checked like a long while ago. But I guess they're going to do what they do. They just don't think. They kind of think like they're still in high school. So they're in the car and she talks about having a kid and says that she's not really interested in having a kid, which I think is actually the one responsible thing that Louie and Melissa have said and done, which we will get into some more. So, but then she makes this super childish remark where she's like, but if Donna were to not want us to have a kid, I'd reconsider. Why do you want to have a kid and bring them into that bullshit ass drama between, you know, your kid, their grandma? It just seemed like, even though she may not have been entirely serious, it just seemed very, very, very childish. So they get to the hotel and I'm like, this guy Louie is skinny. I know he was on drugs and whatnot, but he's so skinny. Oh my God. Thank you, Oh So Best, for the compliment. I don't like when he does that. It's embarrassing. That is my husband. He is not some random thirsty person. But I appreciate the comment. Please go and listen to Oh So Best. You can also subscribe to his channel. We do a lot of content together. We'll have a lot of upcoming content together, actually, because we're going to be traveling. There's a lot that we have that's going to be happening. So we'll share that as a couple. Anywho, let's ignore Mr. Best and get back to the recap. So basically, Louie skinny. She's like, he's a ladies' man. And I'm like, maybe it's something with like the girls in New Jersey, but I'm looking at this young man and I'm like, he's not all of that. It looks like if I were to like sit on him or wrestle him just playfully, like I feel like I could take him down. But I feel like I could take a lot of people down if I really want to. My husband was just wrestling me in the living room. He don't want these problems. He gonna learn. Anywho, they get to having sex and there's no condom. We don't want to have a baby. I'm hoping this woman's on birth control or, you know, because I know everybody thinks the pull-out method does not work. The pull-out method does not work. My husband knocked me up years ago pulling out. So the pull-out method does not work, y'all. It don't work. But they took the risk. Then we find out this was the episode for Melissa and Louie where, in my opinion, we got too much information. What they say, TMI, whatever the hell. So he was like, she was on her period, but we still did it. the world just wanted to know that you had sex, Louis. We did not need to know that this woman was menstruating during this time. Like, that's a personal thing. I don't quite understand why he would tell us that. Like, I don't get it. Like, why do we need to know that? I really just do not understand it. Anyway, basically, after we find out that Melissa was on her period, we also find out that Louis is a minute man. I don't want no minute man. I know that some of y'all are probably a little too old for that song, so I encourage you to look it up. Anywho, she says that Louis, she was expecting the sex to be over like instantly because he hasn't had sex all these years while in jail. But she was pleasantly surprised that he lasted an entire, not one, not two, but 3 minutes before his explosive finish came. So I'm just like, why would you say that publicly? Like, we assume, you know, and to get out of jail, it's excitement, but the sex itself isn't that good. You know, they have no tolerance. They can't hold water at the male part. So it is what it is. But I'm just like, why did he have to tell us that she was on her period? Why did she have to tell us that it only lasted 3 minutes? And why is he fighting for an extra 2 minutes of love time? I'm sure after a few years and a few different women, because Louis is a ladies' man, that he will last a lot longer than 3 minutes, Melissa. So moving it along, he talks to his mom on the phone after they wake up. And basically, she's saying that there's an unmarked car. And with TV, I see you, production and editors. Y'all really tried to edit it as if there was really an unmarked car. There was no unmarked car. They literally were just in the hotel. The mom, I think she's just freaking out and saying whatever the hell she has to say to get his narrow behind home. That's what I think is happening, which is hilarious. The next thing we see, and apologies for those who wonder, why does this woman keep looking away from the screen? I am still working on building my streaming setup. So I am reading my notes from my handy dandy iPhone, as we so call it. And I do have to look down because I don't want to fuck anything up. And then y'all come for me on the comments. Like, no, I don't. I don't want that. You shouldn't want that. No one wants that. So there's no unmarked car. Like, throughout the whole episode, we never hear or see anything about this unmarked car, but they used it as such like a big selling point to get people to come in. And then there was nothing with it. So they go to see Louis' probation guy because he has 24 to 48 hours to check in with his PO, to find out if he can go to New Jersey, to find out his limitations, if he's going to be, you know, randomly drug searched, his requirements. And basically, she's concerned for the probation because she wants him to be able to come with her to New Jersey, but he may have to stay in Georgia at his mom's house, which I'm starting to agree with Melissa on, because that house, from what he explained, appears to be triggering. I'm so sorry, y'all. My braids is old. I put them up because I didn't want to scare you with new growth. And now the damn hair is just attacking me. Anyway, apologies. Basically, while in the car waiting on Louis to meet with his PO, she ends up FaceTiming her sister, as most females would, somebody important, and they're discussing his mom. And his sister's like, you think that lady even gonna let him come out there? Like, I don't know. I just get the energy that like the mom would find a way to move to New Jersey, like with Louis and Melissa. Because she gives those vibes. She gives like, I'm overbearing. I don't know how to respect my boundaries. It's my way or the highway. Those are the vibes that she gives. So she knocks on Melissa's window with a wooden kitchen spoon, ladle, whatever the hell you want to call it, a kitchen utensil. And I'm like, why does she have this kitchen utensil and it's in a nightgown knocking on this lady's window? Like, if that's not scripted, my God, talk about crazy. So we basically see her get in the car to wait instead of making a scene of his probation. And then we're not going to find out if he can leave New Jersey until next week, but we do find out he has to pay some fines and make monthly payments for 10 years. I'm assuming that's his, I can't think of the damn term right now whatsoever, but restitution, there it is, your restitution. I'm assuming that's what that is. So that is all we got from Melissa and Louis this week. We'll find out next week if he's going to be able to go to New Jersey or if he's stuck in Georgia with his crazy mama and high recidivism. The next couple we have is Sheree and Anthony. We didn't get them last week. I was okay with it. Sheree by herself, no shade. she seems like she's the girl that keeps up with whatever trend is popular so that she can feel relevant and or popular. I'm not impressed by this young woman at all. So Anthony gets released. Sheree is an HR manager for those who are unsure. This is another couple who has known each other since their high school or secondary school, as my African community says. This is, she's known Anthony since high school. And he gets released once again. Sheree is also half naked with the clothing. And I'm like, you in New York. I know it's not that hot out there. Like, come on now. Anyway, she gets him in the car and she's like, listen, I've got an itinerary. This is what you're going to do. We have time. She's got alarms set. And the first thing she says is, well, your mom's chicken. She made you some chicken. He's like, I don't want that. I don't want that. I'm like, Jesus. And in my head, I'm like, so far I'm looking at Anthony like this is not the greatest first impression. You don't want home cooked food from your mom that your girl who's been holding you down has found a way to get to you. You don't want that. I don't know what that was about, but to me, someone who's been sitting in jail for as long as he has, I believe it's like over 7 years. When you want some home cooked food, either your mama can't cook or you're an ungrateful son of a bitch. That's what I got from Anthony thus far. So he doesn't like that she has an itinerary, which honestly, I can't blame him for. He literally is minutes out of jail. And you have this man with an itinerary for his schedule. They wake up, they have chow, there's rec time. You're unintentionally, Sheree, triggering this man. So he says it feels like he got GPS and ankle monitor on, which he don't. And I don't blame him for having an issue with that. So basically, watching Anthony, he kind of reminded me. So for those who don't know, I grew up in Islam. My parents practiced Islam. We were Muslims growing up, went to the mosque. I wore head wraps, all those things. So he reminds me of the men in the Nation of Islam, which is like here in the States, it's like primarily the African-American take on it. And that's not the biggest compliment. These are men who expect a lot from women, but can't meet the expectations of women or men or society, really. So that's what Anthony gives me. He does say he prefers to go with the flow. Nobody likes to be tracked. So again, I could not get upset at him about that. And in my opinion, at first I was concerned, but I think they're both red flags. That's how they ended up together. Maybe that'll keep them together because she seems controlling with that itinerary and he seems controlling as well. I don't give my man an itinerary and I help manage his music. I'm not giving that man an itinerary. He's a grown-ass man, 32-year-old man. I am not giving Mr. Best an itinerary. I just think people who have the idea of what a relationship should look like in their head, instead of focusing on getting to know their spouse and, listening to their likes and dislikes, they're so focused on just having it match what they think it should look like. And Sheree gives that to me. I don't think she's as invested in Anthony as Anthony is invested in her after watching this episode. So they do find a way to get some Popeyes. I seen the bag. They tried to blur it out, but I know Popeyes chicken. I love Popeyes, but my husband don't really let me eat it like that. It's just a thing. We're trying to be healthier. Basically, we do find out after he tore up the Popeyes that he does have goals for himself. He definitely wants to go back to school for culinary arts. It's cooking school. He wants to be the next Black Gordon Ramsay, y'all. I said, listen, that's good for you. Culinary school is something you can get done relatively quickly if you put the effort into it. I think that's the case with anything, though, honestly. And he has a realistic goal. He wants a food truck. That's something easy to get, something easy to attain. It's also realistic for him with the job market being a felon. I'm sure culinary arts will accept him. So we see him get a haircut. I was worried at first what his barber was doing, but we trusted the process and he came out looking okay. We find out when he's at his barber that the welcome home party that Sheree is giving to him, he doesn't give any fucks about that party. He doesn't want to go. He doesn't want the party. And we find out that he actually contested the party. So that's interesting. That confirms my feelings that Sheree is only throwing this party to prove something to her ex, which means that you're not over your ex. And you can't truly be in love with this person if you're not over the next. That's not true love. You can't tell me that it is. So that brings me to the next question, and the last question we'll get for them today. Why do you care, Sheree, about your baby daddy's reaction to your new relationship? That means you're more concerned about your baby daddy than you are your man. That means the welcome home party that you're throwing for Anthony is not really for Anthony, it's for you, boo-boo. I don't understand why you would choose to date someone else just on the premise of having a way to make your ex feel jealous or see that you have what y'all couldn't. That's weird as fuck. Like, move on. But I am a Gemini, so I detach easily. I break hearts, darling. I don't get broken. Anywho, the next couple we're going to go over today, you guys, is Chelsea and Michael. I've been seeing y'all in the Facebook group for Love After Lockup complaining about having to read subtitles for somebody who's deaf. You guys are half slow. Because why are you mad that you have to read for about maybe a total of 10 minutes out of a 90-minute episode? Stop. Think about it. This woman has to read all the time, can't hear, and has insecurities up the wazoo. At least we are blessed to have the ability to hear. Okay, we need to be sensitive to those who have disabilities that they cannot control, such as being deaf. That's just not something we should like joke about. Anywho, into the episode. Chelsea and Michael, basically we see that Michael gets out. He is out. They're in the car. They're discussing it. And she's very clear on her boundaries. And I kind of respect it. She's like, if you get locked up again, Michael, you won't ever talk to me again. I respect that. I hope she means it. He does want to stay out of trouble. So that's also a good sign. Now, she was talking on the phone. Well, not talking on the phone. She is deaf. Apologies. She took a phone call on her cell phone, and it was her son, and they're doing their sign language. And she speaks. She's like, did you feed the dog? I didn't think nothing of it. We all kind of have an idea of the distortion that can come with someone who's deaf's voice when they actually vocalize and speak. Most human, half decent people are understanding to that. Now, she gets worried about her voice, and he does assure her. So I think Michael cares. I feel like Chelsea's more the red flag. So they go to his mother's house. They see his family. She passed away. And it seems they have a trauma bond because Mikey explains that Chelsea going to his mother's funeral while he was locked up and supporting his sisters is what made him know that he wants to be with her. But I understand that could feel like something that's a big deal. But anybody can support you through someone's passing and you feel that you have a connection to them. So it looks a little bit like a trauma bond, but I'm hoping it's not. Basically, we find out he wants to sleep in his mom's bed, which made Chelsea uncomfortable. I can't blame her for that. That was a little odd. But I also understand his perspective. He wants to feel close to his mother because she passed away literally weeks before he got out, which is just so sad. He finds a birthday card from his mom on the bed, almost breaks down. And that's when they go to commercial and they come back. And when we see them again, she explains that she doesn't like staying in other people's houses and they go to a hotel. So basically, Mikey is excited for intimacy, but Chelsea has made it very clear before this episode, Love During Lockup, and all of the above, that she is not interested in having sex for a little while. She wants to remain celibate, even though she has this man. I never understand that. You're getting with men in jail. You know that they're excited about sex. You're having conversations with them about it. You have had more opportunity than most to tell this man, hey, I don't want to have sex. It's like, you have to be honest in relationships. It's not just about consenting and not consenting. If you are getting in a relationship with someone and you want to build that bond to where you do have sex to get to a marriage, you should let them know, I like you, I want to date you, but I want to do it without the sex. So that they have the right to choose if they want to move forward. That's how it should work. I don't like that. She should have told him that from the jump. So we end the episode pretty much seeing him go to the hotel excited, and she don't have a heart, or she said she go sleep on the far side of the bed. I don't know. That just seems really childish in my most personal opinions, y'all. So we're going to move on to the next couple of the episode, which was Andy and Brittany. Andy is the former cop of 13 years. Brittany is the drug addict who was in jail for a little over 2 years. He comes back to the room. They've been arguing a little bit. They did not have sex. These two were not intimate with each other at all. This obviously caused a shift in energy, I think, in both directions. Brittany is another woman. If you know you don't want to have sex with him, make it fucking clear. You have that right to tell someone you don't want to have sex with them. No one's going to feel sorry for you when things go left and you didn't speak up. Now, no, I am not condoning rape or anything like that for the extremists, but I'm just saying, outside of rape, you have a right to tell someone that you do or don't want to have sex with them. Absolutely, you do. And either they respect it or they don't. And that's how life goes, in my opinion. So he comes back, brings her a coffee. She declines the coffee, doesn't even speak when he comes in the room. The tension is there. I'm going to zip through this because I'm tired of them and I know what I'm looking at, in the words of my friend James. So Chelsea can't be in a relationship right now, y'all. That's just the consensus. There's nothing anyone can say to change my opinion. I at first was feeling like, okay, maybe it's Andy. Maybe it's that she's not attracted to him. Maybe that's the problem. No, this girl, her focus is her children. I feel like she dealt with him because maybe she thought because he had kids and stuff that it would give her time to be with her kids. But at this point, it's looking like she's dealing with him for what he can provide and not for what, for actually liking them, which is, not the right reasons. So she speaks of her troubles with Gracie and, her daughter Gracie's had issues. She's the oldest child. The oldest child experiences the most. I would say myself and my younger sister, we are the oldest of four. I think that we went through the most when our parents split up and all the things that happened. So I think the older children always see more because your parents feel a little safer with you and you're old enough to remember. So you're impacted more. And that is the case with Gracie. These kids have ended up in foster homes and some more shit behind their mom's choices. So I actually respect Brittany for saying F this, F that, F you, F them. The only thing that matters is my children. That's it. I respect her for that. She tries to convey that to Andy, and he says that none of the drama with the kids is good for her. He says that he made plans and has been supportive and that they should have went home to Rome, Georgia last night. And, in my opinion, I think he should have just told her, I've done a lot for you. And I feel like, you didn't tell me when we went to the birthday party that I didn't come in after having me pay for the cake. You didn't tell me that all of this was going to happen. I don't feel included. So I'm okay if you stay here, but I'm a dip. That's what Andy should have said and could have said. Instead, he chose to, none of drama with your kids is good for you. And, I made plans and have been supportive. Now you need to say, fuck your kids and come for me. As a parent, on her part, I definitely get where she's coming from. I don't even have children, but as a parent, it's like sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself for your kids. That's why I don't have kids, because I ain't ready to do that yet, y'all. But, for some people, they are. I just felt like Andy was in the confessional, kind of making it out to seem like Gracie's over dramatic. And I'm like, how dare he? I was on his side at first, but I'm like, how dare he? This young lady, separate from Brittany, separate from Andy, separate from the show, has went through real stuff because of someone else's choices. She had to go on foster care. She had to keep her siblings together. She had to grow up before she should have fully grown up. Andy saying, oh yeah, everything's good, until he's tired of it. That's not good. So I get why she's annoyed with that. She doesn't want to leave her kids and he wants to go home. That's understood. But she says that she will not leave anything to the choice of a man. But at the same time, Brittany, you having him spend money. I hate women like that. Like, if you're not going to leave anything to the choice of a man, then be independent. Do it without him. Why do you have him along the way, driving you where you need to go, asking for money, accepting money? Like, have some integrity, Brittany, if that's the case. So basically, looking at my notes, y'all, he says that they can stay when they have an argument and a little discussion about it. And then she's still not satisfied that he's willing to stay. So in my opinion, Brittany does not want him. And it seemed like she was kind of picking for an argument because if she gets to a good place with him, he'll be expecting intimacy. We've seen that happen before on previous seasons of Love After Lockup. It would not surprise me. She does not seem turned on or interested in him at all. And that's just my personal opinion. I've been seeing people like maybe she's going to go back to the drugs. When his son Barry, he goes to talk to Barry about it. And Barry's a sweetheart. He's just trying to support his dad and his siblings. But he calls his sisters like it looks like dad's getting played. And I wouldn't say that either is getting played. I don't think Andy's getting played. I don't think Brittany's getting played. I think that these are two people who lack communication skills, because a closed mouth don't get fed. If she fixes her mouth and opens her mouth to say from the jump, hey, I don't want you around my kids until I can get to a good place with them after I get out of jail, could have solved all the problems in the world. And if he were to explain, like, in the course of this, if she didn't explain that, like, you know, I'm a little bit uncomfortable because you keep having issues with Gracie. We're not being intimate. I'm just wondering if there's something I'm doing. You know, they both lack communication. So I don't know if they're going to make it as a couple. I really don't have the most faith in them, especially with his kids rooting the daughters not believing in a relationship. But I will say something that Brittany said. Sorry, y'all. I have the worst allergies. I live in the Bay Area. We are going through a heat wave, they say. It's been like 90, almost 100 degrees out here, and I live on the water, so it should not be that way. And I have the worst allergies, so I apologize. I'm sniffly. Anywho, basically, I get what Brittany meant and her concern with Andy's lie in Love during Lockup about being there for his kids when he's not very present. He does kind of have a self-centered way of thinking. He'll do what looks good while people are looking, but I get the feeling behind closed doors he's not doing what's good or right. That's just all I'm gonna say. I also think Brittany's with him for the wrong reasons. So that's all I'm gonna say with them. I'm tired of Andy and Brittany. Girl, if you don't want that man, leave. You got the love of your kids and all of this, but I feel like she may not have nowhere to go if she leaves him. And I know a lot of adults in that situation in real life, you know, who may want to leave where they live in or their spouse, but they have nowhere to go. Even people stuck in, you know, small towns, they want to leave home, but they have nowhere to go. No money, like things like that. So I get it. I get it. But Andy and Brittany, I hope they break up. I'm going to just say it now. Mrs. Best has said it. I hope they break the hell up. I do. Because I can't keep going through this episode after episode. I'd rather watch Renika and Asante. R.I.P. Asante. And, you know, it's just because at least there's some type of attraction. They just don't seem attracted to each other, my most personal opinion. Anywho, moving it along, the last couple of the recap. And look at this, y'all. We got good timing in. It's crazy because this episode was so long, but not much happened. So, you know, I have a feeling once the couples are all out, once everyone's spouse is released, which I think they should be now, we'll probably start to get into like the nitty gritty and the good parts of the episode. So Joinomi and Red, she is our Native American cast member. It looks like she lives on a reservation too. I believe she said that episode 1, but I don't want to say that speaking correctly, but I love that her culture is so heavy in her life. I think culture is important. I don't care what color you are. If you have your culture, learn about it. Have pride in it. You know, nothing's wrong with that. Just don't judge others, but you know, love your shit. So Joinomi and Red, basically we saw her last week pawning legit Native American heirlooms from her grandmother just for money to go see this man. She goes to see an attorney in this episode because, and I'm like in my head, I'm like, maybe she's wanting to get married. Maybe she's wanting to, you know, prep and like think about prenups because she wants to get married. You know, I'm thinking maybe that's happening. No, this heifer goes to the attorney to see if to see if Red can adopt her son Sway. Because remember, her 3-year-old son, she doesn't know who the daddy is. She has no clue who her son's dad is. And so she has her son calling this inmate that she's never met dad. And now she goes to an attorney. Even though he's getting out, she could have waited for that appointment and gone to the appointment with him. She goes alone to see about Red adopting her son. This is the example of a woman who had a baby for all the wrong reasons. And I'm sorry, a lot of them are out there, which is why they get so offended when people recap or comment on the baby mamas we see on TV. Listen, it's not my fault. Okay, but this chick, she had a baby for the wrong reasons. You looking for a dad and you're just looking for someone to call him dad when you could be looking for the nigga you spread your legs to so that he could have the opportunity to be a dad to the baby. I'm just saying, I think that's so irresponsible and rude to the kid. What happens when Sway is an adult? I don't care how much Anthony loves him. He may want to know where his actual blood comes from. What about medical issues, potential things? There's some stuff that was passed down to me medically from my dad and my mom. And I can know, like they can know, even if they don't know the parents, sometimes it's necessary for them to know. So I just think that's irresponsible. But most of these parents on Love After Lockup, they don't want to hear it, but they're extremely irresponsible. And the reason I say that is because just because you have a job and a roof over your head for your child and all of those things, fine. That's the basics to keep CPS and them away from you. But to have your child around an unknown adult, I don't care if it's male or female, because females be doing fucked up shit to kids too. But to have your child around an adult that you have never met in person, to have your child living in a house, expecting them to live with a man or a woman that they've never met, it's irresponsible. From Andy with his son Barry being in that damn area or being with him along the ride, to Letitia from last season, and Keith having her daughter was physically uncomfortable, just did not care. That's not okay. That's not okay. Parents, do better. So the attorney says that the bond is necessary in order for adoption. You have to prove that, you know, you guys have been married for some time, that your relationship is strong enough, that they're stuck in the kid's life, things like that. So he tells her things that are pretty much common sense. And we find out while she meets with the attorney that Sway, her son's dad, could be 3 different men. The reason this is a big deal, you guys, is because she says that she cheated on Anthony and that's how she had her son, Sway. Now you're saying that your son has 3 potential different dads. Even her sister was like, oh my gosh, I did not know this. Like, you could tell that was the face, like, oh my God, my sister's a hoe. That's where you realize it. Like, and she is. She's, in the words of the Bay Area, she's popular. She's a bop. I know I'm showing my age saying that term. Thought, bop, I don't know the terms, whatever you call it, that's joint on me. I feel like because she's overweight, that she's using sex as a way to feel confident and attractive. And just because you're overweight doesn't mean you're unattractive. And if you don't like how you look, change it. I'm not saying with plastic surgery, though you can if you can afford it, but I don't think you can living in a trailer. But if you don't like how you look, change it. Go exercise. Mrs. Best is losing weight. I got to get rid of some extra skin in my arms. I've been dropping weight everywhere. And I'm like, oh Lord, I put the tone. I got to get rid of all this stuff. But I'd rather work out a million times over than have surgery, because I'm someone who's had surgery. If you've had surgery for something outside of plastic surgery or elective surgery, then you're looking at people who choosing to just have surgery for no reason, like they're crazy. I wouldn't want to go through that healing process for nobody. But it's unfortunate that there's obviously a lack of security with Joy. She seems very insecure. And I'm like, wow, 3 different men, you fuck, raw dog. That's concerning, sis. If you want to go out there and be promiscuous, ain't nothing wrong with that. But use birth control. Make these men wrap it up. A condom's $1.50 at 7-Eleven. I mean, shit. And that's in California. So, and we more expensive than most states. So I just don't see there being an excuse. So basically we see Joy says that she wants to wait on adoption. Obviously, she has no choice because she doesn't want to be in a predicament where she loses her relationship and her son. God forbid something happened, which was the one smart thing she said the whole time she's been on television. Basically, we see her drop her son off to her parents to go pick up Red, and we find out she hasn't spoke to him in days, but she's heading to that airport, even though she has not heard from him, doesn't know what to expect. Remember, he's always in the hole, meaning he's always in trouble. Hot Mess Express. I think Joy is so bad that we just like, there's there's only so much I can say without like downing this girl, if that makes sense. But that is the Mrs. Best Reviews recap of Love After Lockup Season 5, Episode 4, titled Dark Side of the Spoon. I will be setting up the live for next week's recap. We will continue having these every Saturday. They're always going to be between 10 and 12. This one was supposed to start at 11, but I did decide to start early because I have to record a artist reaction. So B3ST now offers paid artist reaction. You can pay $15 and I will promo and make a video that is not live like this one, where we will look at all of the artist socials, the bio, get some background on the artist, some things they want you to know, where you can find their music. We will listen to a minimum of 5 songs, give our best, give some legit feedback, and it's a wonderful thing. We also have song reviews that we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thursdays is for music videos. Tuesdays is for the regular song review. Those are free. So if you know someone who wants to share music, they can do so on Tuesday and Thursdays for free on the channel. Outside of the song reviews for recaps, outside of Love After Lockup, the next recaps that will be on my channel will be on Tuesday. I am now taking on Basketball Wives Orlando as well as Basketball Wives, where we will recap each episode with James from the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel. You can also find me on the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel, where we will be recapping House of Villains, which is on the E! Network, as well as Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We will also on Wednesday go over the Love and Hip Hop Miami recap. And then that brings us to the Love After Lockup recap. So I appreciate those who are watching either live or the live recap. I am a new channel. I am slowly growing. I am a normal human. So we are improving. Now we're no longer in 720p. We got a webcam. We should be in 1080p, 4K. We're getting tools to become better and to improve. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, feel free to do so. You can also follow me on socials. I am responsive and friendly. I hope you all have the best Saturday, and I thank you for watching if you made it to the end of the video. Have